One of the questions that we get asked the most is, could we make a video about just how to make a website from start to finish? Well, of course, the problem with that is there's just a million different possibilities for building a website. So there isn't really a start to finish process because everybody's website could be different. However, there are some basic things we can show you, and there's actually no perfect place to start. You can start however you want to. You can start dragging in images or writing text or whatever you want to do. So I thought what I'd do with this video is just do a real simple, basic idea of how to build a website from a blank canvas. Now, of course, there are lots of templates, so if you have no ideas and you don't have any images to start with, then you certainly should start with a template. They're easy to move around and edit and change and whatever. But if you're going to build a website from a blank canvas, at the very least, you're going to need a collection of some images. So let me show you. I'm just going to show you, I'm going to use the image tool and show you in my little folder here. I've got some images that I've drug into a folder that I'm going to use to build a website with. So you have to at least know, what kind of pictures you want on your website, so you have something to work with. And again, if you don't have this, get some graphics out of the graphics pack. There's a bonus package of 1,600 or so. There's 125 headers you can work with. So there should be plenty of images. There's stuff you can get off the internet, and you probably already have some if you're in the mode of building a website. But again, use a template if you don't have anything. So for this demonstration, I have collected just a handful of images here I'm going to build a simple website with. But let me show you what I would do if it was me. First thing I would do is I would kind of decide what kind of layout I want. So the first thing I would do is I would create a background header. And here's how we do that. I'm going to right click out here on the canvas and go to the page properties under formatting. And I just like websites that have kind of this repeating, it's called a repeating X or an infinite background. And the way you do that is you go and find the image that you want to use. Now I have one, like I said, already ready, called bg.gif. And now it's right here, it's loaded in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you, for the sake of clarity, what that image looks like. It's not a very big image. In fact, it's only, I think, about 4 pixels wide. You can see it's black line, and then it is a gradient down to white. It actually goes somewhere down in here and it fades out. Well, obviously that's not a very good image to use by itself because you can't see it. But it's a great background image if I use it as a repeating X. And a repeating X image means I want this image to repeat horizontally, infinitely across my page. Here's what happens when I do that. Let's go back to the page properties and formatting, and you'll see there's my image path. But this time I'm going to select repeat horizontally. And what happens when I click OK is you'll see that the image has repeated indefinitely across the screen. It's got this black bar and then kind of a gradient gray to white. And that's kind of a nice way to start my website with. Now you can find all kinds of background headers, and a lot of them of course are much wider than 4 pixels, and just mess around, play with the whole repeating X property, and you can have some fun with the background of that. The next thing I like to do is have a footer or a bottom area of my website. Well, of course the shape tool is a great way to start, and so if I take the shape tool and I just drag it out here, I can make basically anything I want to. I could go like this and stretch this into shape all the way across. If I double click on it, I have all kinds of different shapes to choose from. But then of course I also can affect the colors. I can make it a gradient. I can decide what colors it gradiates to. So again, if I wanted to go from black to white or black to gray or whatever, I would make all of those decisions here. And that could be my bottom or my footer. Maybe it's a little bit dark, so maybe let's go with some grays. That's not a bad footer. So we could do that and stretch that across, to about 1,000 pixels or whatever. So that's a good way to start. Now, I'm going to delete this, select it, and hit my delete button. I made one. I'm just going to drag over here. I kind of like one that's this color. And I'll put it about right here. I'll let this be my footer. It's a little bit lighter. Now, I didn't use the shape tool to make this one. This is an actual image that I had on my computer that it just looks like this. It's just sort of a gray box, and I liked it. In fact, it's if I double click on it, you can see it's called bottom gradient. And so this is just another image, and I'm just, stretching it into size and the size and shape that I want. Let's make it a little bit bigger, go like this. So anyway, the point is just to kind of get the basic layout of what you want your site to look like first. So I kind of know I'm going to have wording up here. I'm going to have maybe a picture over here and some text here and there. So let's start doing that. So obviously we can use the text tool. And text tool is up here at the top. I'm going to grab the text tool and I'm going to call this Greg's website. So it doesn't matter where I start typing because I'm going to drag everything into place. So we'll just call this Greg's website. And I'm gonna actually make it bigger, make the font bigger, of course, make it pretty big, like I don't know, 36 is pretty big. Let's make it bold. Now, and remember, I can stretch, so I don't want it to return. I want it to be like that. Since I'm going to put it up here into a black space, I probably should change the color of it. So I'll select it first and choose white so that it can show up easier. And so now I've just, made the title of my website, a header. Be nice if I had a logo, maybe I would put next to that, and I've got one saved here. Let's use the image tool again. Image tools, and let's see, I've got some kind of a funny looking thing. It's not really my logo. I think that means a firewall, but we'll just pretend that's a logo. And we'll just put it up here. So I can just drag it right on top, because I'm using this background. This background image is always going to be behind because it's in the background. And let's pretend that's my logo. Set that right up there like that. And now what about navigation? That's another thing to think about. I mean, if I kind of have an idea of where my top and bottom are, and I'm going to at some point put content in here, which is basically text and images, I'm going to want people to be able to navigate around. So there is several great tools. The basic one, the simple one, is the navigation bar. There's a lot of other ways to make navigation in 90 seconds. This is why there's no start to finish video I can show you, because there's so many incredibly good ways to navigate. The navigation bar, the slide menu tab, and these are all sort of navigation tools. And now, of course, the jQuery accordion is an even more effective way to build navigation. But that's a video in and of itself. So let's just take the basic navigation bar and go like this, and it gives me a starting point. First thing I want to do is double click on it and change the direction it goes. I want it to go horizontal because I think I want to put it across the top of my website like this. And I'm going to want to change the color and the look because it doesn't really match, which I would do here in style. There are some pre-built images, and in fact quite a number of them to choose from. And so I'm probably just going to pick something basic for the sake of this particular video demo. Let's just pick something that looks kind of cool. This is what the buttons will look like. If you hover over the buttons, they'll look like this. So if you wanted to have some kind of an effect, let's say, and we'll just do that for the sake of demonstration. Let's make it look like this when you hover over it. Slightly different. And then, of course, here's what it's going to look like. I can preview it here. Kind of bounces there. Looks like I need to change the color of the font in order for that to show up too. So here's my text, and Arial center is fine, but let's make the color of the font be black so it shows up. And you'll notice as I hover, the color changes because I can change the color of the hover right here. Let's just for fun change it to red so you can see. All right. So now let's say I've chosen the layout and the look of my navigation. I can see what it's going to look like on my website here, and I can put, this is the beauty of 90 seconds, you just put it wherever you want it. So this, just for now, let's just put it here. And obviously I would rename these things, not button 1, button 2. I'd call this maybe my home page, and I would want to link it to my actual home page, and so I would do that here. Once that page is made, I would be able to link it here, or I can even link it to an external website. If I go here, I can say, okay, I want that to go to this particular website, etc. And of course, we would do that with all of the buttons. We'll skip that for now for the sake of time, but you get the idea. So basically, I've decided on a top and a bottom, put in a little text, put in a little logo. I've got my navigation. I could spend some time on the navigation. Let's just fill in the website just quickly to show you how easy it is to do. So I've used a shape tool and made a couple of shapes here. I'm going to put one right out here, and I've got a little image I like right there. Let's say I've written a little headline, and I sell, for example, let's say I sell, I don't know, security software. That's kind of what that looks like. Write a little write-up about it, something like this. And I might have another image. Here's this. Oh, let's do this. I got an image from my collection here. Use the image tools. I have kind of a globe, I think, somewhere that makes a nice. There we go. Header image right there. So I can put that in place, and again I can stretch it around until it looks right. So we'll put it like this, and I might write a little write up about that. So I would use the text tool to do that. I've pre-written this so we don't, just to save some time. Now I'm going to show you another quick trick. So let's say here's the text that I've put here. You'll notice that as I drag this text, it kind of goes behind the image. Well, it's really easy to fix that. When you select this object, I can go to Arrange and move it to the front so that it actually can be in front of this image. If I wanted to drag this closer, I could without any problems. Have it kind of overlap. Again, another one of the beautiful parts of this software is just being able to overlap things and know that it's not going to look weird. So let's say I wanted my website to look like that. There's a little product box. If I spent more time, kind of lining things up, I can select all of these things and move them at once. Let's put in let's put another image. Got a little product here. So let's call it this one, the 30-day profit formula. Let's put that there, and let's say this is the product I was going to sell. I put a little write-up here next to it. Again, text that I can jostle around, put into place. Let's just leave it like that. So let's just pretend that's what I'm selling. Again, if I was using PayPal, I would go and get my PayPal button, get a Buy Now button, and put that right here. And I'll double click. I kind of like the bigger. I think these look better, and they probably convert better in the long run. I would fill in all my PayPal details, the price of the product, etc. I would do all that there, so my PayPal button is working, so people could buy my product. And again, this is just, you see I'm just dragging things around, and I can move them as I go. The other thing I might want to do is put some text down here in my footer. So maybe I've got contact information. I would use the text tool to do that. I've pre-written one just for the sake of time. It's just basically text. You can, I don't want to skip any details, but I'm just using the text tool like this, going like this, and writing text. That's all it is. And then once I've written my text, it looks like this. I can format it. So let's look at the formatting of that text real quick. All you need to do is just very familiar tools. You can select the text and set all the formatting up here. The font, the size, the color. Very similar to anything in Windows where you're working with text. And then, stretch it around or whatever you want to do. Another thing is there's a line tool. It's it's near the shape tool, the drawing tools. It's this kind of a thing here. And I can make a straight line like this. Sometimes this is a good separator. And honestly, there's just so many possibilities. I can decide what color I want that line to be. Say I want it to be kind of a dark gray. I want it to be fatter or thinner or whatever. I can even put a link in the line. I don't know if you'd want to, but you can if you want. It can be solid. It can be dotted. It's crazy how many options there are. So look, there's a little line I might want to put there. And if I want another one, I'm going to go copy and paste. And there, I just made another one. Put that over here. So maybe I'll use that as a separator to put some other information. Maybe I'd put a box down here about my company and whatever. So you can see it's just as simple. It's about dragging things into place and deciding what images you want to use and working mostly with text and these kinds of tools. Shape tool can do a lot. When you work with the shape tool, just remember that you can control what level it's at, meaning whether it's in front of something or behind something. With just about every object in 90-Second Website Builder, if you don't know what to do with it, if you don't know how to change it, you just double click on it and it will always bring up just a plethora of features. So for the shape tool, for example, not only can I, change the shape itself, but I've got so many different possibilities. I can make this a glassy shape, and then I can choose the colors, and I can put a border around it or not. So here's a solid border of black that's 2 pixels, 3 pixels fat, and you can see there's just so many different things I can do. So I could put this arrow here, and you see what I'm saying. But again, you can just, there's so many variations. You can just always double click on something. If I wanted again to change the layer, I would go to arrange and send this to the back. Because you are limited only by your creativity and your imagination, it's really hard to show you all the possibilities. But just play with the tools and it'll get you started. Once you've made the website the way you want it to, of course you want to save your work. It's ready, you're ready to publish it. And then there's other videos that show you how to publish your website to the internet. You can even publish it to your local computer if you want to work with the HTML for some reason. But that's just the basics of how to get started with 90-Second Website Builder. So find a collection of images that you like to work with, or use a template and just move things around. And that's pretty much, it's pretty much that simple.